Welcome to Traveling Towards Wealth, the podcast where money meets adventure and freedom is always on the horizon. I'm Sarah Jones, financial coach, full-time traveler, houseplant lover, sourdough baker, and your guide to building a life that's as rich in experiences as it is in peace of mind. Each month, we dive into a new theme, whether it's real money stories, the ins and outs of full time travel, building a business or multiples while on the road, or finding wellness and simplicity wherever you are. Here, you'll get practical tips, honest conversations, and a gentle push to spend, save, and live according to your values, not someone else's rules. If you're ready to design a life you truly love, one where you can travel more, stress less, build financial confidence, shop safer, and wake up every day feeling like you're exactly where you're meant to be, then you're in the right place. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's start traveling towards wealth, one story at a time. Hey, welcome back. I'm so excited to be here today with you because this episode is either going to say, wow, she is like really super crazy nuts, or um, maybe you're going to look and say, oh, maybe she's crazy, but not as crazy as I thought she was going to be. Kind of either one, because today we're talking about building businesses on the road and just giving you a little bit of insight into what it looks like to build multiple businesses while traveling full time. Now, I'm in full disclosure, I'm not going deep into any of the businesses in this episode. I'm not giving you all the strategies and everything because that would be far too much for one episode. I'm just giving you the highlight. I'm giving you kind of the insider peek, like a quick inside peek into our life traveling and building multiple businesses while on the road. So if you've ever dreamed of like building a business, right, that really supports your lifestyle, not the other way around, right, that really supports your lifestyle, and you're like, how the heck do I juggle it all? This episode is definitely for you because I'm sharing my real life, real world strategies, struggles, wins, so you can see what's possible. And we have multiple businesses that we build, and I don't think I've completely lost my mind yet to be determined. But you know, when James and I decided to go be full-time RVers, one of the things that solidified that for us that we were able to say yes more easily was a couple of things. Number one, we were debt-free. We had a really great money plan in place, so we already knew what our expenses were, and so transitioning to full-time travel was much, much easier. Had a couple of businesses already in place, so that income was already coming in. So it could really fuel our travel, right? It could fuel our life. And so we started out on this journey with already having a couple of income streams coming in. We are not retired. We are not financially at the place to retire. Like we still have to work. And I'm okay with saying that. We are not at the place that we can work because we want to. We are still at the place that we work because we have to. And so, you know, we knew when we went full-time travel that we had to be really intentional with keeping and continuing to grow our businesses, right? But we also wanted the freedom and the peace of mind to like travel, right? And and to make it all work has definitely taken some trial and error. But there are some systems and some mindsets that needed to be put into place for this to really come to fruition. And here's the thing that I see out in the business world in the solopreneur entrepreneur space right now, and it's all about the grind. Oh, I've just got to grind. I've got to work. I've got to keep pushing so I can set my family up, so I can, leave a good legacy for them. And what I find is that so many people spend all of their time building a business and they have no life to show for it. That's not what I wanted at all. I wanted to create income streams and businesses that supported my lifestyle so I could have a life first, business is secondary. My business, none of my businesses come first. Now, we are intentional with the time and the effort that we put into them, but they don't come first. Building a life is so important. And friend, I think that so many people are missing that point right now. I just see it, like I said, in the entrepreneurial, solopreneur space that people are so into this grind and hustle culture. And we're just taught like push, 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 and your business isn't successful unless you're making millions a year and you've got employees and all. And I find that to be ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Because for me, I am reminded every single day that our time on this earth is limited. Time is a finite resource. It cannot be, we can't add to it. It's not infinite. So I want to spend my time and I want to be present. And I am not going to allow businesses to take my time, right? I don't want business to be the forefront. I want my life to be the forefront. So just a quick overview of all the businesses that we have. It is a lot. For 19 years, I have worked with a US manufacturing company as a marketing executive. And what I do is I teach people about shopping safer, shopping smarter, saving time, saving money, getting toxin free or low toxin products in their home and spending less than what they're currently spending on products that are harmful. I also partner and mentor those that would like to do the same thing, that would like to earn some extra money doing that. And for 19 years, I'm got a whole story about that in an upcoming episode. But that's really been the catalyst to our debt-free life. It has been the reason why I'm a financial coach, all the things. So I love helping people shop smarter, get safe products in their home, and save money at the same time on high quality products. Second one, I am financial coach. So it's everything about money. So helping people feel like their money's working for them, to feel confident, to feel secure, to feel safe, to feel like they are seeing their financial goals actually come to fruition and getting off this hamster wheel of the paycheck to paycheck cycle and the frustration and overwhelm that so many live in when it comes to money, both in personal life and business life. Our third business is we have a printing company. So people will send their favorite photos from their phone. It could be photos, digital artwork, logos, and we print it on metal and then ship it back. This is not a drop ship. We do the printing here in our fifth wheel. My husband can help with business lending. So if you've got a business, you're needing lending for, equipment for growth to cover payroll until, some of the next accounts receivables come in. He can help with lending. We are actively trying to look for and purchase an RV park. So that's exciting. Um, we have a program called Traveling Through Postcards where people subscribe either monthly or for the year, and you receive handwritten postcards from us every single month. So that's kind of a fun little, it is a business, but it's a fun little creative thing that we have. And then with all my sourdough baking, I've been taking orders for sourdough and cinnamon rolls and all kinds of baked goods every week. So that's the long and the short of our businesses that we are building and growing while traveling. So again, you might think I'm crazy, you might be a little intrigued with it, but some of the challenges with building businesses on the road is I think the number one is always going to be time. We, especially because there are multiple businesses, is dividing our time in a way that each business gets the time that's needed to actually build it and grow it so it's thriving, not just barely surviving, right? Because nothing I do, I want to just be barely surviving. I want to be thriving in everything. And so just dedicating time. So really looking at, calendars, making sure calendars are set, making sure that I know when things are happening with each business, looking ahead, having the forethought to plan things several months in advance are really important to staying on track and feeling like There's this modicum of control, right? Also, with the calendar, I mentioned this on a previous episode, but it's really important to know when we've got working days and when we've got exploring days and keeping the two separate. When you work from home, whether you're on the road or not, it can be really easy to kind of mix home life, family life with work life, right? Because you work from home and it's also intertwined. That is extremely prevalent here in the full-time RV community as well. You're living in a much smaller space, and so much of the time, how you're making money is directly related to your travel. And so sometimes it can be hard to kind of put that hard stop in between the two and really separate. So knowing when you're exploring what your travel days are, when you're working with clients, when you're working on what business, it's really important to have that set aside, in my honest opinion. Otherwise, everything just feels chaotic, right? You're trying to travel, drive down the road while you're on the phone with clients, and oftentimes it just doesn't work out. You're not giving your full attention to what you want it, what your clients deserve, what your customers deserve, and what you deserve as well, right? Another challenge is time zones, managing time zones. Now, I've always worked with people in multiple time zones, but when you are moving time zones as well, that just adds on this level of like, what the heck? You know, sometimes you think you're going crazy because you might switch, two time zones in a day. That can really kind of throw you off, right? It throws off your work schedule, throws off your own circadian rhythm. So managing time zones, being really intentional with that. Something I screwed up a lot in the beginning is the time zones, right? How do you put appointments into your calendar? What time zone are you entering them in as? And just staying consistent all the way through is important, and making sure that all of your calendars and time zones and all of your accounts that you use are all synced up with the same time zone that you are in. Another challenge that we've really had to kind of overcome is staying productive on the road. For us, it was really easy to just feel like we wanted to get out and explore because everything was new. And sometimes we put off work tasks in place of exploring and say, oh, well, I'll get to it tomorrow. We're just going to go check this out. And it's real easy to get into the habit of exploring more than and without the intention behind it. I want to be really cautious because you can explore all you want, you can work all you want, whatever. It's more about the intention that you put behind it, and what if you want to continue to build and thrive in business, it is important to put the intention behind it on what your work hours are and what tasks need to be done, right? Now, I said I want my life to come first, but the businesses support our life. And so being intentional with how we're running them is important. So having that separation, right? Staying productive, setting your timer, grounding yourself, all the things that you would need to stay productive in regular life are still the same things that you need to do to stay productive while on the road. And burnout is a real challenge, again, because you're working from home. It is a smaller space. And oftentimes, when you're still in working age, right, when you are not retired and you're working because you have to, it's hard to not want to use your experiences with travel to make money. So becoming a content creator, which is what a lot of people do, it muddies the lines a little bit, and that's where sometimes a lot of burnout happens. You're not really experiencing the things that you want to experience because you're more focused on creating content and not the experience that it's bringing you. um there's days that the Wi-Fi is spotty or non-existent. There are days where storms come through, and living in an RV when a major storm is coming through can be terrifying. So just learning to be flexible as well, which is something that I've really had to put some effort into. There's a lot of mindset shifts that I've really had to work on being a full-time RVer. I've mentioned a lot of it just kind of briefly already, but really understanding, what's the purpose of this RV life? What's this purpose of us traveling? What's the experience that I want to get out of it? Am I being present or not? And my word of the year for 2026 is actually present, because of what I've noticed is last year specifically, I wasn't as present as I really wanted to be. Some things are kind of a blur to me, and that makes me kind of sad. So I really want to be more present. And that's a mindset shift in turning off this multi-faceted, multi-creative, multi-business owner brain to shift to, Sarah, remember why it is that you're here in the first place, right? Another mindset shift for me, and I mentioned this before, in the last episode about, building like an RV community, right? And getting involved in communities. This is not something I've been real great at. In fact, I've been pretty terrible at it. Pretty terrible at it. And, my husband says, Sarah, you don't start a whole lot of conversations with people. Oh, like eye-opening. Why? I'm not necessarily an introvert. I'm not necessarily an extrovert. I really manage, I start conversations when I feel like the energy is there. I often have found myself like taking a walk, but not starting a conversation because I know I have to get back. I'm just trying to get some steps in between meetings. I don't have time to talk with people when I'm out and about. So there's a lot of nuance here, right? And it's really about looking at those mindsets of, scarcity of I can't do this, I can't do that, shifting that to, growth mindset to abundance mindset of, there's still a lot to learn here. We are 4.5 years, almost 4.5 years into this journey, and there's a lot for me to learn. And I'm trying to stay sane and I'm trying to stay focused, but, there's new seasons of life. And so there's always something new to learn here. And that's part of the beauty of this journey, right? Some of the things, just some of the tools that I use to help me stay focused, to have some good systems, because that's another important piece. If you're running even one business, multiple businesses, having some good systems in place, I think are critical. I use Go High Level as my CRM that does a lot of, it's like my project management. It helps me keep my tasks oriented and organized. Using, my regular Google Calendar keeps all my appointments, my personal time, my business time. It keeps it separate. I can block things off. I know when we're traveling, when we're not. Um, Communication, knowing what platforms I'm using, just keeping it the same, knowing what systems are in place. Again, GHL hooks up to all of these and is integrated into all of these. So it keeps my systems, my automations kind of running smoothly, right? Um, I use, Canva for a lot of, my content creation and that sort of a thing. And as far as, money tools, same thing I use with my clients. I've got a really great, easy to use, simple spreadsheet that helps us keep our finances on track, right? Lets us plan ahead, lets us know what's going on, keeps all of our goals happening and coming to fruition. And, I think it just comes down to creating systems in your life. So it supports when life gets crazy, you fall back on your systems. You're not like struggling and overwhelmed with, okay, what do I do and what needs to happen? And when does this create the system and fall back on it? That way you don't have to think about it when life gets crazy, right? Um, it's really about using those systems, right? And I've mentioned, kind of keeping those boundaries, creating some good habits and routines in your life so you're, kind of doing things the same no matter what location you're at. It really does help you manage the moves and the time zones and the new locations a little bit easier if you keep those good routines in place. For us, I always believe in having multiple streams of income. That does not mean that I believe in starting a whole bunch of new things, new businesses, new jobs all at once. I think that you get really good at one and then you can add in another one. But I think having multiple streams of income is really important to a successful money plan. And it's also important for us being self-employed, having multiple streams of income coming in creates some safety, some security, because revenues in one are always going to be lower, but they might be higher in another one, right? So it always kind of averages out and you're not relying on just one place to cover everything. So, I'd really love to encourage you as you're hearing all of this. Again, I'm just giving you some brief insights and oversight here. But I'd really love for you to kind of start small and start thinking about, if you're looking at just building a business in general, starting a business, or if you're looking at traveling with business, think about some systems, right? What works in your life now and what doesn't? Like, where could you create a system that would make your life a little bit easier now, right? It's those kinds of things to be thinking about, and then to take action, right? Start implementing new systems to help make the things happening in your life a little bit easier, more manageable, uh, that starts getting you closer to your goals and the things that you want to accomplish, right? So putting systems in place, creating those habits and those routines. So if you're really like dreaming of a business that funds your freedom, but it feels overwhelming, I hope it doesn't after this episode. It might, but I hope that you feel encouraged that it is possible. You don't have to do it all at once. Again, it doesn't have to be done perfectly. It's really just about starting one step at a time, creating a system, right? And implementing the system. Your path is unique. What it is that you want, it's valid and it is worth pursuing. And I really hate to see people not pursue their dreams of starting a business, of traveling, because they don't know what to do or it feels too overwhelming. So if that has been your case in the past, please don't let it be the case going forward. Reach out to me. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this today. And if it sparked any kind of idea or gave you any hope, please follow, leave a review, share it, but send me a message, book a time on my calendar. Let's have a call, right? Let's talk about what your dreams are. Let's talk about what your business is. If you're looking for a business, I can help you, right? If you're looking at the finance part of it and you're like, I don't know how to get my business finances, friend, I have your back here. So the link is in the show notes. Get a time on my calendar and let's connect. All right. So, next episode, we're really diving into wellness, simplicity, really living on purpose, because wealth is more than just money. So, until then, keep wandering, keep growing, keep traveling towards wealth, one story at a time. Bye for now, friend. Thanks for joining me on Traveling Towards Wealth. If today's episode sparked something in you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share this show with a fellow free spirit who's ready to design a life they love. Want to dive deeper? I'd love to connect with you. Book a free call with me to chat about your money, your dreams, and your next steps. No pressure, just a real conversation. You can find the link in the show notes or on my website. And let's stay connected on socials. Follow me on Instagram or Facebook for behind the scenes RV life, money tips, and a little gypsy spirit along the way. Remember, your money, your journey, your rules. I'll see you next Tuesday for another story and some practical steps to help you travel further towards wealth, freedom, and a life you love. Until then, keep wandering, keep growing, and keep spending on what matters most.